Those two love sucking up to teachers. The art room is filled with all kinds of junk. Old musical instruments, broken toys, bubble wrap, plastic bags, clothespins. At home, my mom makes me clean up my room all the time and pick up after myself. But I guess art teachers are allowed to be slobs. Hey, maybe I should become an art teacher when I grow up. Neil, who we call the nude kid, even though he wears clothes, asked Ms. Hannah where he could throw away his gum. "Oh, I don't have a garbage can," she said, as she took Neil's gum and put it in a jar that said "Old Gum" on it. "I love garbage. In fact, on garbage day, the garbage men bring the garbage to me. I feel sad when people throw things away." Ms. Hannah is bananas. One time, I blew my nose into a tissue, and Ms. Hannah stuck the tissue to a big ball of paper the size of a beach ball. It was gross. "Today, we're going to do something different," she announced. Uh-oh. I didn't like the sound of that. Different is scary. "A special guest has come to speak to us," said Ms. Hannah. "I'd like to introduce you to my old art history teacher. He's also the president of the Museum of Recent Art, the esteemed Professor Armand Pitt." Why would you steam a professor? Isn't that dangerous? Armand Pitt? I bet when he was a kid, all the other kids called him Armpit. How could you not? We all clapped because that's what you're supposed to do when people get introduced, even if they didn't do anything yet. This guy walked into the room. He had long hair, was dressed in all black, and was wearing a cape. I always thought that only superheroes, like my third-grade teacher Mr. Cooper, could wear capes. But I guess anybody is allowed to wear one. Oh, and Professor Armpit was wearing a beret, which is sort of like a frisbee made out of cloth that you put on your head. "Bonjour," said Professor Armpit, and he took a big bow. That means hello in French. I know lots of French. Like, if you want to say yes, you say oui, but it's pronounced oui, which makes no sense at all. Well, I guess that's all the French I know, but you can really communicate a lot by just saying hello and yes. "The professor is going to talk to us about art history," said Ms. Hannah. "Isn't that exciting?" "Yes!" shouted all the girls. "No!" shouted all the boys. Art history? Was she kidding? Art is boring. History is boring. So art history must be super boring. "Art is how we express creativity," said Professor Armpit. "Blah, blah, 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 feelings, blah, 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 meaning, blah, 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 color and shape, blah, 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 blah. What's he talking about? Blah, 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 blah. When is it going to end? Blah, 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 blah. I'm getting sleepy. Blah, 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 blah. What's for lunch? Blah, 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 blah. Why do people sit on babies? Blah, blah, zzz." 2. Anything can be art. Oh, sorry. I must have dozed off in the middle of Professor Armpit's fascinating talk about whatever he was talking about. What a snooze fest. When I woke up, Professor Armpit was gone. At least I wouldn't have to listen to him talk anymore. But I was wrong. The next morning, after we pledged the allegiance, Miss Banks announced, "Instead of math and social studies today, we're going on a field trip." At first, I thought she was just pulling another one of her pranks, but she insisted she was serious. We were really going on a field trip. "Field trip!" yelled Alexia. "Field trip!" yelled Neil. "Field trip!" yelled Ryan. Everybody started yelling, "Field trip!" Field trips are cool. Well, except for field trips to a field. Those field trips are boring. "Where are we going?" asked Andrea, the human homework machine. "We're taking a tour of a radioactive toxic waste dump," replied Miss Banks. "What?" "Just kidding," she said. "We're going to the Museum of Recent Art. Professor Pitt invited us to be his guest."